welcome everyone. This is Botany and Board. I am Bailey, and today I'm here with another marathon playthrough of some games. So we have 5 games here that we're going to be going over for the next 30 minutes. This is a multiplayer marathon instead of a solo marathon. So Wyatt is there joining me. So we are playing Foundations of Rome, and this was our very first time playing Foundations of Rome. And so what we're doing right there is we are doing a little snake draft. Not a snake draft, just a draft. We're drafting our cards in order to select what lots we have. So similar to Lords of Vegas, you're actually going to go and solidify your lots first and foremost. And then after that, you will go and actually can build upon your lot that you have already owned. So we did the little advanced variant. We just played base rule. There's lots of different modules in this game, like tons and tons. You can just keep flipping through the rule book and they're like, you can do this, you can do this. We also have the Roads to Fortune expansion, and we have not checked that out yet. We just did standard base with a little extra drafting mechanic there. So we are getting all of our lots. We are going to be building out on that grid there to the right, except for we will not be able to put anything on the 2-player game in the all those cells that are blue colored a little bit. So you can see H1 down to H8 and then A8 over. Those are all not going to be used, so we're just filling up within that. And the cool, interesting thing about Foundations of Rome is it's so simple to play. Like on your turn, you're either getting money, buying a deed, or building on your lot. Like 1, 2, or 3. Pick what you want. And then what's interesting though is that you can build something and then you can rebuild on top of it if you wanted to. But also what I think is kind of cool is that other people's buildings score for you, and I really like that. So that if I see Wyatt has a bunch of population buildings sitting around my building, then I will go and say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and build extra buildings that like score for that, like around there. And then so by his virtue of him setting up as a little thing for his own goal, I actually am taking advantage of what he has laid out there for me. And then so the deeds for sale, if you look over there, so there's 3 eras in the game. So we're going through until we run out of all those first sets of deeds, and then we'll go to era 2 and then era 3, and that is the end of the game. At the end of era 3, the whole grid will be filled in, aside from the H1 through H8 and A8 through H8, like I mentioned. And the deeds also slide over to the left. So as soon as someone buys one, all of them slide over and become cheaper, and then a new one is backfilled. We actually have not played this game since we played it this time. We need to get it out again. We got a little busy with doing other things, but it is a very good game. I really enjoyed it, and I like the idea that it has lots of little modules, because again, the rule set is very simple, yet you have plenty of strategic decisions. Do you want to get the deed? Should you get the deed now? Do you think someone's going to snipe it out from under you? What kind of building do you want to buy? Do you want to rebuild over another one of your buildings? How are you doing on the population tracker? And the population tracker is kind of an interesting thing as well. So the way it scores at the bottom, so I've just moved Wyatt's cube up on the population tracker to 4, so he's blue, I'm purple. And the way it works is wherever you are, as long as you at least had 1 population building built, you'd like go ahead and like register that you have 1 over there. And then you actually score points equal to the person in front of you. So for instance, if I was just at 1 and Wyatt happened to be at 25, I too will score 25 points, which is kind of an interesting mechanic, especially probably in 4-player. Could be very interesting how that kind of works out. And then there's also though bonuses for the person who is the furthest ahead on the population tracker each round, so they increase as you go into era 3. So you'll kind of like, if you look over at the grid, I'll kind of tell you some of the things I've been doing and what we've been doing over there. So you'll see my first building up there in the top left says 2 victory points per little money symbol. So how that works is, see how on that darker like sandy colored building, it says 3 money. So I will actually get 2 victory points per money, and that other building counts as 3 money. So I will get 6 victory points for that. And then I also have that other little one that's in B3, which is covered up, and I have 1 point per that. So just by having my little 3 income person, that's going to give me income, but for points wise, I get 2 points from the one and 1 point for the other one. So 3 times 3, so I get 9 points off of sitting that there. And so Wyatt, as you can see, he just set that little, oh, he changed his mind. But with his, oh, no, okay, what? We're doing lots of things over there. So 1 point per person. So he has set that by his 4 population marker. So he has now solidified 4 points that scores at the end of each era. So getting things done first is strategic, because you'll get more points that way. And that is also why, for instance, so you'll see that I have the 4 population marker up there, and he has the 4 over there. So I built that because there are things that score for population. So then I am trying my hardest over there to get F2, because I want to solidify that section between F1 F2 to get me a scoring point for the population. So we're going through the final scoring on era 2, excuse me. And we did so I late pledged to get this game on Kickstarter, so I do not know exactly if you get the retail version, if there's a little bit of differences. I do know we had 2 sets of cubes, so it might have a little bit different cubes. The metal coins also came in the pledge. I didn't pay extra to get those, it was just bundled. And the game box, while it is huge, it is very functional. So all of the player boards come out and they are already like set up so that you have all your little, so Wyatt's player tray, he just puts a plastic thing on top of that and then puts it in the box. And then it is ready to just pull out and get to the table very quickly. So currently, I think I've put this whenever I was doing the thumbnails, which we've only played once. So usually I play something at least 5 times, or 3 to 5. In order before I give it a rating, but I went ahead and laid it on 8 for now. I really enjoyed my play. I like that it is easy to get to the table. I can teach a lot of people. There's tons of little strategicness to think about. I also like it's almost like a puzzle a little bit, like getting everything where I wanted it to be. Oh yes, and I did it. I did my F1 and F2. I got my population 4, so I got 8 points for that. Yeah, and I like the tension. So for instance, I like once you kind of strategically, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I want to do this, and then you have that up-racketing tension of when will that deed come out? Does he want it to? Will he mess up and do something that's gonna mess up my whole plan? So we're doing final scoring on the end of round 3. It looks like. And yes, so it's also nice, so on the board there, it tells you exactly the population bonus is 10 points there at the very bottom, and it tells you kind of to go ahead and do step by step, get your points. Yeah, White did really well there in the center. He got a ton of points for all of those buildings. I love how I say that and the camera unfocuses. But he did really well for getting the different buildings inside there. So yeah, that I ended up winning, in case you didn't see that. So now Mandala. I finally got this game. Somebody a long time ago was like, I assumed you'd played Mandala, and I haven't, and it's been on my wish list for a long time, and I still just haven't pulled the trigger, but I finally did, and I do love it. So currently I'm also at an 8 on this one. More plays can make it be higher, but currently I'm at an 8. So the way it works is there are 2 mandalas, one to the left, one to the right. There is 2 rivers, is what you call it, is that 1 through 6 points down below. And then the center that's white is considered the mountain. So what we are doing is once a mandala is complete, which we just did that one on Q over there. So that mandala on the right is now complete because it has all 6 colors. So what happens is, so Wyatt has 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 2 orange and the 2 black, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So he actually audibled, since ties go to the person who didn't complete the mandala, so he kind of audibled and took that away. But once you have 6 colors, so I'll go ahead and explain it on the left one since we've kind of moved over there now. So that one has 6. So we are fighting over what is in the middle, mountain. And that is where we will put, you get to take all of the cards from the middle that you pick based on whoever scored the most points, whoever had the most cards on their side of the mandala gets to go first in choosing which stack they want from the mountain. You will take one of those and then put it to the leftmost spot in the point. So you can't just be like, I want black to be worth 6. You have to just go from left to right, and then you put everything else in your cup, is what it's called, which is where we have those mandala cards face down. And so at the end of the game, everything in my cup that is colored will get score points equal to what is depicted below it. So all my black will be worth 5, all my orange will be worth 4, so on and so forth. And so it is kind of a race. The game ends whenever someone gets 6, and then, or you needed to reshuffle the deck. So Wyatt ended up getting 6 and triggered the end game. And so we have just stacked out everything that was in our cup, and we're doing final scoring, and it ended up being a very close race, but Wyatt was the winner. So it was 44-34, in case that went away too quickly. So I won Foundations of Rome, and he won Mandala. I made him do that, like, 1, 2, 3, go. Because I am a nerd. Hocus Pocus. So this one, okay, so I got this because from watching Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeples tier ranking, and they were like, they went through and they rated Hocus Pocus an A, and I was like, wait, what? Because I really wanted this game, like, just because I love Halloween, and Hocus Pocus, obviously cult classic, one of the best. And I love witches, and I was supposed to be born on Halloween, fun fact, so I feel like I have extra allegiance to the witchiness. And so I ended up getting it. It was on a last chance sale on Miniature Market, which, by the way, it still is. I just looked. And so if you want to get Hocus Pocus for yourself, go do it, because I also rate this game an 8. I really enjoy it. It is hard to win. So what we're trying to do is stun the witches 3 times, okay? Sarah, Winifred, and Mary all want to be stunned in different ways. So Sarah, you just have to have all ingredients of the same color. So she just wants all the same color. Mary, on the far right, she wants to have all ingredients match. And then Winifred is kind of she's like it's almost like a flip-flop. It's always hard to remember hers because she wants all ingredients to match, but she wants one of each color present. And so we want to stun them 3 times before the deck runs out. Otherwise, we lose. We have some little special abilities over there above us. So there's like Billy and daylight savings, that kind of thing. So we'll use those later as well. And then you'll notice that I have my hand sitting down. That's because I have binks. So when you play cards, you'll see that thine own tongue over there that's blue has binks on it. So whenever I play that, it actually puts binks in front of me and allows everybody else at the table to see what I have, because otherwise there's no communication in this game other than you can ask one question at the beginning of your turn. You can say, do you have a green? Do you have a toe? Like that kind of thing. And so currently we're over there and we were trying to do now toes. It looks like trying to do toes. So and then there's also spells. So on that purple dead man's toe, it came out and has spell, as did that one. So then we have to go through and do a spell. If a witch is stunned, her spell will not trigger, which is nice. But currently we are having a hard time stunning the witches, as you can see. So we lost that one, so we needed to shuffle up already, and if you do that, if you didn't make it through, then you have to, you lose. So at the end of the round, if you do stun a witch, it signifies the end of the round, and then you actually go through and you discard all ingredients that didn't have a Binks or a spell, and they will not be used for the rest of the game. So your deck keeps getting like shorter and shorter, so you have to get better at like being quicker about stunning the witches along your way. We have won one time. I'll say that, but that's what sometimes I think I find almost the most addicting, is that when games are hard to win. Like, this is so simple, we can get it out, it plays in 20 minutes, and yet it's hard to win. And there is like little strategic decisions. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So we got all blue. Hooray! So finally, so we stunned Sarah. But there's lots of little strategic of like, okay, how do I get, like, if I see that it needs to be, you know, a salamander, okay, if I do this and then turn that into that color, that will let me do this thing that will let me get to whatever. There's lots of fun, satisfying little planning involved. And then when do you want to use the special abilities over there to the right? When do you want to drink your wine? Also apparently is important to me. So yeah, so we're going to give it a go on another round because we lost quickly on that first one. So yeah, so we are in round 2, sorry. So I have Binks again. So we have a lot of tongues, so it's like, okay, yeah. It'd be like, good thing if we can get all the same tongue, that would do marrying. It could be a duplicate, it could be another green tongue, and that wouldn't have been a problem for marrying. So some of the spells are brutal though too. Some of them, you'll be like almost there, and then one will come out and it'll say, discard all ingredients from one item deck, or discard all the ingredients that don't show Binks on the cards. And you're like, no, I was so close to getting what I wanted. So White actually has over there so we had to do that. We had to discard one pile based on that spell. But White did have a blue tongue over there, so he could have made that one blue, and just we could have got the, now we had to swap a thing, so he did do the blue, but now it's, yeah, so he's like, yep, I have a yellow, but then we can't figure out currently how to get it to yellow, because he does have a yellow. I can see that in his hand now, but I didn't know that at the time because he can't communicate. Or we could go to green by looking at my hand and try to get something where, so we used it on the same one, but. Okay. And then we've totally flipped. Now we're going salamanders because since he had Binks and I could see he had tons of salamanders, and then yay! So we did the second. Oh no, there we go. Yeah. So we were able to do that, and that was just the second time though, and then I believe we ended up losing. I don't know why that went so quickly. I think we ended up getting that one. I wonder if part of the footage got deleted or something. I feel like we got the last, so we stunned them twice, but then I think we could never do the third before we ran out of the deck. So next up is kites. So on this one, this is a real-time game, and so if you don't like real-time, you're not gonna like this game. I really like real-time, so this would have been better footage if we would have had the face cam on, honestly, to where you could have saw the sand leaving the timers, but You'll just have to watch along. So what you can do is you start by flipping the white timer. Each person must take turns alternating to play a card. Whenever you play a card, then you must flip those timers. If you play any single card with just one color, for instance that red kite, that is how you're able to flip the white timer. And then once the deck runs out though, you are not allowed to flip the white timer again. So you kind of have to, we actually had a little snafu because I had to like look that up in the rule book and I didn't realize that. So we did flip it once and then we like sat there and we're like, oh, we're not supposed to do that. Yeah, so we gave that to ourselves. We won with an asterisk. We did flip the white timer once, but it was, we counted it because I had to, I wasn't entirely sure on the rule. Let's go to Japan. So this is our newest little game that we have played. And so I just got this in. And Todd, if you're listening, I bet you are, thank you for your recommendation to get this game. We had a lovely time playing this round. We'll also do a formal, more formal, like standard playthrough for this one. We won't have it ready yet. We're going on vacation, actually, not to Japan, but we're gonna go to California next Friday. So we will not be recording it then, so unless I get it done beforehand, before Friday, and edited, and then maybe you'll see it next Tuesday. I've been trying to stick to like more of a schedule. I kind of just do like once a week, but like you don't know if I'm gonna post it like 9 a.m. on Sunday or like 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So I've been trying to do a little bit more consistent just to see if like the algorithm appreciates that, but it's also just hard with like, since this is obviously just kind of like a side hobby. My full-time job is very demanding, and so sometimes committing to certain things, unless I have a lot of things recorded ahead, is very, very tricky. So this is our first time playing this one as well, so you're gonna get the full-on, like looking at rules, all of that. Also, I'm curious, if you guys are a couple, or regardless if you're not a couple, if you just play games with your friends, are you the rule reader in the like, so in our relationship, right, Wyatt is like a person that comes along for the ride. I obviously like pick out the games, buy the games, read the rules, watch the videos, teach him how to play, all of that. He just shows up to have fun. So what are you guys? Like, let me know down below. Are you the me? Are you the Wyatt? Are you somewhere in between? I assume if you're watching, you're probably more likely to be the one that's like purchasing and reading and whatnot. But you never know. Greg, if you're watching, I know that you said that your daughter will read your rules and teach you them, and I am very jealous of that, just to be clear. I usually like to watch a playthrough and then read the rules, because then I'm kind of like, okay, I get the overarching, it helps me to like start with, this is the goal, this is kind of how it like works and goes, and then I fill in the details, whereas sometimes rule books can get too into the minutia too fast to where I like lose sight of the bigger picture, like in the trees or whatever that saying is. So in Let's Go to Japan, you are doing basically planning a trip to Japan. So in the back of the rule book, it's kind of interesting because the designer, so Josh Wood, he ended up saying that him and his wife were scheduled to go to Japan in 2020, and then their trip got canceled. So instead of going there, they used all of the information they'd gathered in planning their trip to make this game. So thank you. I guess glad that happened to you in a way, because now we have this lovely game. And I feel like, my guess is, since it's called Let's Go to Japan, I bet you they're gonna have Let's Go to lots of different other places, which would be really neat to have okay, yeah, just add in the like expansion packs on the cards, or maybe even like different player boards. Also, those player boards are like really big. Like, so I don't know if you guys can tell just how we have it set up, but they're really big. Like, it surprised me that it wasn't smaller, which is nice. You can see everything, but we could not do side by side. It would have been like Wonderland's War size board. So we are planning a trip though to Japan. So there's 2 different locations, Kyoto and Tokyo, and then there is different drafting mechanics that happen. So you'll see kind of, we are currently in the play 2 cards pass 2 area, where that little white marker is. So we are drawing up our 4 cards that we have passed to each other on our deck, and then we'll go through and then play 2, pass 2. During those, the next one we'll grab 2 of Tokyo, 2 of Kyoto, play 2, pass 2, and then again we will get the ones that have been discarded / passed from Wyatt to me. So I will get those 2 Kyotos the next time I get in 2 little round markers over. And so each time you fill up a day. So whenever you fill up a day, you have 1, 2, or 3. You can see that on the left. So that means if you have 1, 2, or 3 symbols that match the symbol of the day. So you'll see that on Monday I have that yellow bag with a heart. That is shopping. And so they all have different. On Wednesday, that is like a temple symbol. Friday over there is eating. And so you'll try to match the symbol. So for instance, on that pink flower, I have 1, 2, 3 of those. So when I completed that, I got to either pick if I wanted a train or a extra walk token. So your trains are used because each time you want to go from Tokyo to Kyoto or vice versa, you need a train to get there. And so if you do not purchase, or if you do not award yourself with that train, which is worth an extra to go up on your happiness and 2 points. Every time you see the little cat, he is the victory point marker. And so with that train, if you get the super train or fast train or whatever you want to call it, you get the 2 points. Versus if you just had to take it, you get -2 points. If you just have to take them from the bank and you didn't earn them. The next thing is if you had 2, you can get some research tokens, which allows you to draw up more cards. So that way you could see more things. Wyatt and I did not use that actually. And then a wild token. So you can use that as well. And then the other one is that green arrow, which allows you to move up on your happiness tracker. So if you look at the happiness tracker, has red to the left, green to the right. And so effectively different things you do will either stress you out or make you happy. If you spend too much money, that makes you sad. You get a little stressed. If you took too much time or whatever, it goes to the left. Versus if something makes you happy, then you'll like visit a cat rescue cafe, that will make you happy. And once you get either to the all the way left or all the way right on those smiley faces, you will move the little smiley themselves up 1. So you could either, if you start getting too stressed, first you'll have a penalty of -3, then -8, -15, and then likewise 5, 12, 20 for the happiness side. Okay, so we have done our days. So we are getting our trains here currently, and then we are going to proceed into final score. Wyatt is assessing his trains. He also was confused about the walk situation. So whenever you take a walk, it is kind of interesting. You'll lay something down face down like he just did, and then you get to decide if you want to leave it face down or if you would like to flip it up and use its scoring on the bottom. So whenever you lay out your cards, you have those 3 cards, but since you cover them up, whenever you played them, you could play it on the top, middle, or bottom, but only the card that is on the bottom will score for its end of day activity. So for instance, on Wyatt's there, if he has 2 green, if we look at on Tuesday, if he has 2 green, then he'll get 5 victory points and an extra victory point per blue symbol. So we are assigning little trains there, but then we are going to go and move our tokens. So I've started moving mine. So looks like I'm doing mine first. So I did 1, 2, 3. So that's why I moved my shopping bag over to 3. And then Wyatt is doing his. So he's moving his experience tokens. And so it's per day. You have to decide, like, did you satisfy the condition by that specific day? And so you just work your way from Monday through Saturday. There is no Sunday. It just disappeared in this game. So we were all tied up through Monday and Tuesday. So I got 17, 12, and 12 and 17. And then he edged me out by 1 point on Wednesday. However, Thursday, I had a good day at 21 points. So whenever we do our other playthrough, we'll try to do more of the, kind of give you the flavor text and the themes of like what we were doing and, you know, tell a little story with it. But with the sped up version, you don't exactly have that, which is, it's part of the cuteness of this game, other than, you know, just the planning is like, what do you want to do? And it has lots of little information actually on there as well. So if you were ever just kind of, there's not much downtime in the game, but if you had a moment while somebody else was taking, you know, longer on selecting their card from the draft, you could read along some of the facts. So my Friday was really good and his was only 9, so that is when the tables started to turn. Because we were very neck and neck, really. I then gave it to Wyatt to do the scoring, but then I used a calculator because that's easier. I am a CPA, but I am really bad at mental math because I always have a 10 key on my keyboard ready to go, so I don't use mental math, and therefore I have lost it. And yeah, so that was it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this other marathon. And, oh, I won, by the way, just in case that wasn't clear on the scoring. I'll try to maybe pop that in there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.